Welcome to the First Responders Wealth Network. Our mission is to help all first responders change their mindset towards money and educate how to build long-term wealth through real estate investing. Are you ready?
All right, guys, welcome back to another podcast. I got my man Alex here, who is a RT down in California, and he's very much involved, especially during COVID, got into the short-term rentals, and he's just crushing it and created a community down there. And I saw you on Instagram, and I know we connected through social. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your story and learning more about you. And I love connecting with people who are kind of doing the same thing, helping our own community get to that next level. So why don't you introduce yourself and we'll get going from there.
Hey, Dave, thanks for having me on. Really excited to be here. My name's Alex Sabio. I'm married, father of four. I live here in Southern California. You know, I kind of wish I had a better success story to tell, like a lot of the gurus have, like they go from 0 properties to 30 in 1 year. But you know what? That's really not my story. I've had a lot of failures and setbacks. And I think my story is a lot more common than what the gurus tell you. I think a lot of people go through the same thing. The difference with me is I just kept going at it. Eventually, I kind of landed on short-term rentals. I'm Asian, but it's kind of embarrassing because I'm not like stereotypical smart Asian. For me, it's just
hey, I don't know about that, man. Look, I'm interviewing you right now. Come on.
Right. Well, for me, I just have to outwork everyone, and eventually, I'm no slouch. Like I could hold my own or whatever. Like my basketball coach told me in high school, he said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And for some reason, that always stuck with me. I started in real estate like 2004. Like I said, had a lot of failures, bought a bunch of long-term rentals. And I call them revenue neutral because with long-term rentals, man, for me, I never got anywhere. Right. It's just slow going. Like you might generate $100, $200 a month profit. And then like every 2-3 years, they move out and you'll have to spend like $5-10 grand or something like that to fix up the place. And, it just wasn't cash
flow.
Yeah, right. And you're just not getting anywhere. And at a certain point, 2008 hit and I had a lot of like long-term rentals and I made some bad decisions, right? Like I bought a house near a hospital that I worked at, thinking I would rent out to residents, nurses, and it just didn't happen, right? I made every single mistake in the book. I took the first person that came and wanted to rent the place. I think my mortgage payment was like $3,200, and they wanted to pay $2,000, and that's if they paid on time, and that's if they even paid. Right. And so after about 2-3 years of that, it was like and 2008 hit. So the property really crashed over here in the US. I think I bought it for $450,000. It was worth $230,000. And I was negative cash flowing like $2,000 a month, working tons of overtime just to cover the mortgage. And I ran out of energy. So I wound up actually having the property foreclosed on. And then like 2-3 years later, I filed for bankruptcy. So hit hard times, man. I almost lost everything. Fortunately enough, the banks, I still had a lot of long-term rentals, but the banks didn't even want those things, man. They're like, I bought them for like $100,000 and they were only worth $60,000. And they're like, no, you keep it.
Really?
So
interesting. Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, real estate's like extremely forgiving and time is on your side. So over time, the mortgage rates went down. I refinanced. Property values went up, rents went up. So then all of a sudden I'm starting to cash flow a little bit more. 2015, 16 comes around. I'm like, I want to start reinvesting in real estate. I want to start buying more. I gained all of this knowledge. I can't just stop here. Right. And so I start working tons of overtime at the hospital. I'm a respiratory therapist and there's like overtime like crazy. They're always in need. Right. But I was getting taxed like crazy. And so I wasn't getting anywhere there either. So I wound up hiring a CPA, and she kind of told me, she said, hey, you should think about investing in short-term rentals. There's a nice tax break there, and a lot of my clients make good money. And I'm still not listening at the time. That kind of went way over my head. And so I started investing in multifamily syndications at that time, right? It's not even, it wasn't the right path for me. But it's weird because I start interviewing like all of these people. I just start talking and networking with a lot of investors. And one investor told me, hey, you know what? The deals you're pitching me sound awful. I make $24,000 a month with 3 of my short-term rentals. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Well, what's your profit like? And she said, well, you're not listening to me. That's my profit. And I'm like, Okay, now I'm listening, right? So tell
Right.
me more about this, right? So that was March of 2020 when I interviewed that person. And we all know exactly what happened March of 2020. Working at the hospital, it became miserable. I mean, I was seeing people dying left and right. We're
Mm,
getting crushed. I mean, it was brutal. It was really difficult for all of us. And I was seeing young people die. I was seeing parents, like a mother and father, die, leaving their kids behind. And in my mind, we didn't know where we were going in the summer of 2020. Like, is COVID going to get worse?
yeah.
Are there going to be all these different variances? Am I going to get sick? Is my wife going to get sick? Because my wife is also a respiratory therapist.
Oh,
Luckily, she
wow.
was able to retire after 3 months after purchasing our first short-term rental. So my want to invest into real estate all of a sudden became a need. Like, I
Right.
needed to become financially free so I could get out of here.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I purchased my first short-term rental in August of 2020, put almost every single penny we had into it. It was really scary at the time, right? And I was buying a home that was 10 times more expensive than I was used to. I was purchasing 60 to $80,000 homes, and here I was purchasing a $600,000 home. And we didn't know where the economy was going to go from there. But luckily enough, I mean, that property cash flowed on average about $5,000 a month.
Wow. Good for you
Uh,
guys.
Right, and I felt like I had an ATM machine at that point. I felt
Yeah.
like I had this hack that no one knew about, right?
Yeah.
And so I felt like I had to get as many of those ATM machines as possible. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're closing on our sixth short-term rental here next month.
Good for you guys.
Um, yeah, and I kind of just started telling the world. I mean, I'm an extreme introvert, but when we talk real estate, it just kind of flows out, right? And
Yep.
I just wanted to help a lot of my healthcare workers that were in the hospital. They were miserable too, but the more I shared my story, the more people started listening to me and like, hey, how do I get into that? Started helping a bunch of other people get into short-term rentals, and it was kind of like a snowball effect where all of these people were becoming financially free just based on like me telling my story. So
Amazing. I love that. So August 2020. So obviously kind of maybe a little gun shy on, moving forward, but nonetheless, you still made that nice purchase there in August of
mhm.
2020. So like, how did you know the area that you purchased was a good area? Like what it would bring
Yeah,
in, like your
yeah.
education, your underwriting, like how did you analyze those properties to know that it was a good purchase? Was it like
Yeah,
AirDNA or did you get some
yeah,
education or how'd that look?
yeah, I was probably too stupid for my own good there, and I kinda got lucky with it, right? And, I just started networking with a bunch of people. A lot of people I said, "Hey, I put out a rookie question, like, "Where's the best place to invest in a short-term rental?" And it was weird, like, a lot of people kept mentioning this area called the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. I'm like, "What the hell is that?" I've never heard of it, right? And I'm
Yeah.
here in Southern California, it's 2,000 miles away. I'm like, okay, let me go visit this area. If I'm going to invest in an area, let me go check it out. And I started hearing about some of the numbers. Called a realtor. She kind of told me how much money this property was going to make. That was one of her listings. That's one tip too. Like if you're thinking about investing in an area, go over there and
Yeah.
try to book an Airbnb. Go through the experience.
Yeah.
And so we kind of felt that experience, like, oh, you know what? All these other ones have a hot tub. We have to get one with the hot tub. These ones are close to town. We probably want something close to town. And we go there in July of 2020. Like nobody's wearing a mask. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
At that time, right? Like everyone's wearing a mask everywhere throughout the country. And here, like there's hundreds and hundreds of people. And what I found it was difficult to book an Airbnb because they're all
Because they're still
booked.
moving around still. Everyone, yeah.
Yeah. That's really what it was. It was just taking the advice of an amazing real estate agent in the area and kind of getting her guidance. She told me that this property would generate $100,000 a year. When I underwrote it, I said, okay, it only needs $63,000 out of pocket. It's going to generate 100,000, and I'll probably have a net profit of $50,000.
Wow.
Well, yeah, but that property went on to generate $135,000 2 years in a row. That property also gave me enough tax breaks to where I don't pay anything in taxes anymore. Like my
Wow.
first tax return was $41,000. You could see like all of a sudden this hack that I had, I started telling more and more people and then started really showing them the numbers. And then my message just started like getting really popular. So
Nice. So do you manage your properties then, or do you have a management company in Tennessee?
Yeah, that's another thing I was too stupid to really understand, because she was like, you could self-manage this. And I kind of just went in there, okay, let me just get into this. And then I just obsessed with every single piece of information. You could learn everything on YouTube, like all these audiobooks, all these different podcasts. And then I felt comfortable with self-managing. Obviously, we didn't know what we were doing at the time. But
Yeah.
luckily enough, like vast majority of the guests are really good. I mean, I would say 9 times out of 10, most guests don't hassle you. You could create systems where you could self-automate this. We're generating so much income now. So now I'm starting to hire virtual assistants. And like I said, my wife was able to retire right away. So she was able to handle a lot of the day-to-day communications and any issues that arose. So
That's amazing. So you went in there, you bought around 650, you said?
yeah, 625 or something like that. Yeah.
625. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So 625, about 130 in income. Are you finding that income is consistent, even like you'll probably make that this year as well? Because I
It's
know,
definitely come down. Yeah.
because I know
Yeah.
it, I mean, that was a wild year in 2021.
2020, 2021, early
Yeah.
2022. So I think it's going to generate close to 110
Nice. That's still
this year.
solid.
So right, yeah. So and that's the thing. There's a lot of haters out there like, oh, Airbnb income's coming down. You guys are going broke. Like, okay, so instead of profiting 5 grand a month, it's 3 grand a month or 4 grand a
Right.
month.
Right.
So okay,
Yeah.
you could hate all you want, but it's still making good money. It's definitely come down. I'm not even gonna lie. And there's definitely a lot more competition in the area. Probably because of me, because I had a big fat mouth and told everyone to buy in the area. But
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
abundance mindset for me. I just wanted everyone to become financially free like me. So
For sure. Now, and then back then you probably got a good rate locked in as well, right? What was
yeah, okay.
what's your rate on that guy?
It was 3% interest rate. And here's the interesting thing. So I bought it for 625. I got it appraised 2 months ago. It was appraised on conservatively for 970. And
Wow.
here's one thing. Like I said, we didn't even know what we were doing. Remember, I'm not the smart type of Asian, right? And so I
You
was
are. You are.
actually
You gotta stop saying that, man. You gotta stop saying that. Go ahead.
so I was actually making double payments on my mortgage. I didn't even realize it until I hired a bookkeeper. We did that for 18 months because I signed up with the bank that I'm with,
Yeah.
Wells Fargo. I had an automatic draft payment on the first of the month, and then I signed up with the mortgage company. So we were paying down that mortgage like crazy. We didn't even know it. That's how much it
Wow.
was cash flowing, right? The extra $2,600 payments. When I looked at it, I said, okay, it's appraised for 970. I actually just refinanced out of that loan from a 3% to a 6%, which is hard to give up. But if you think about it, we just did a cash out refi for $200,000. I have
Nice.
all of the money that I put into it, and I pretty much have a free house. My
Right.
mortgage payment did go up like $1,500, but instead
Yeah.
of cash flowing
It's-
5 grand, maybe it's 3 grand, you know? So
Right. And you're able to multiply those dollars
yes,
again and make
buy
babies,
another one.
as they say, create more
Yes,
soldiers. So
yes.
yeah, cool. I love that. Hey man, right place, right time, great market, clearly. But at the end of the day, driving in a lot of traffic in the area and you got a decent property, I mean, all the power to you. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome. So are
yeah.
you continuing to purchase in that area, or are you kind of spread out in your six properties?
Yeah, so the market is saturated. It's really difficult to buy a property that pencils out there now. We're actually closing on the third one next month. I actually got that under contract in December 2020. And that's the thing, I buy all brand new construction. So it's taking him this long to build. And like I said, like a lot of the gurus tell you all of these things that are amazing. Not everything goes planned and perfect. We
Of
actually got
course.
a 4 bedroom under contract with the indoor pool. My real estate agent walked it last month, and she goes, "Oh my God, Alex, I hate to tell you this, but they built you the wrong house." I said, "What do you mean they built me the wrong house? What are you talking about?" So they built me a 3 bedroom with an indoor pool. But you get upset at it for a day or two. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still upset about it, but what are you going to do? You know what
So
I
you
mean?
so
Like,
you
you just got to
purchased a
move on.
so you purchased a 4 bedroom, but they only build you a three.
Oh man, it sucks. But
So
yeah.
did the builder give you back any money, or how'd that
Mhm.
work? How'd that conversation go?
Yeah, we renegotiated. We said, "Hey, you know what? I'm paying. I got this under contract for 690,000. At the time when I signed with you guys, 3 bedrooms were 580,000. So he said, "Okay, I'll give it to you for 580,000." It's kind of a blessing in disguise
That's
because I
good.
don't need to put as much money down, and
Yeah,
he's paying 2 points or something like that for my loan. So what it
amazing.
is, we'll keep moving on. You kind of just have to roll with the punches, and it's still going to cash flow.
Nice.
Oh
And
well.
where's this one again? Sorry.
It's also in Smoky
Also
Mountains,
in the
Tennessee.
Smokies. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
so that'll be my third one there. We have three more. The area is called Gulf Shores, Alabama. So that's one thing I never thought I'd be able to do is purchase a beach home. I got three of them. All of those long-term rentals that weren't cash flowing for many years, they built up a little bit of equity and the rents went up. So I decided to sell those and go all in with short-term rentals. So I did what's called a 1031 exchange and sold
Nice.
those and
I
used that down
I wish
payment and bought three.
I wish we had that here, but we unfortunately don't up here in
Oh,
Canada. So anyway, I
yeah,
look forward to that as I grow my portfolio down in the US though.
right.
But cool. So now you're focused in Alabama, or did you say you sold those out of Alabama?
I actually
Or-
did have some properties in Alabama that I sold to get from the
Yeah.
north end all the way down to the beach area. I'm still open to any single market, and that's the one thing you learn when you remotely manage and use virtual assistants. You
Yeah.
definitely feel like you could purchase a property anywhere.
So how
Yeah.
much would those Gulf Shores ones be right now?
They're anywhere from $700,000 to $800,000. Yeah, I
Okay.
do have one condo, but that one's on the lower end. It's probably closer to 500,000.
And then how much would the Gulf Shore ones in Alabama bring in a year, roughly?
I would say so. One of them is we actually closed a year ago today. It generated $120,000. Location is key. Another one, which is I love the property. It's a 3-bedroom, 4-bath,
Oh,
brand new
nice.
home, 5-minute walk to the beach, like 3 minutes to. They have a lagoon in the back. It's an amazing home, but it doesn't do as well. I think I bought that for 700,000, and it's gonna do probably $90,000
Okay.
in the first
All right.
12 months. Yeah.
Cool. But you're managing yourself, and usually people kind of discount 20% of management, but you're pocketing
Mhm.
that. Hey, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you
Yeah, it's
know
a
a
lot
bit?
easier than, there's so many automated systems where, especially the messaging, you could automate all of the messaging where that'll take away 80% of your work. You will get woken up with a text saying, hey, this is broken or whatever, or something's going to ruin your day. Like it doesn't work out. Like we probably spend maybe 15, 30 minutes a day managing our business, but sometimes that 15, 30 minutes winds up happening 8 p.m. at night. I mean, I
Nice.
think short-term rental management is part-time, but it's all the time. It's like you're
Right.
on the clock. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We got a few up here in Hamilton area. We live just outside of Hamilton. But yeah, we're just learning all that right now. So Erin, my fiance, she's the one that's kind of doing the communicating and getting
Hmm.
the cleaners lined up, using
Yeah.
hostfully, I think is what we're using.
Hmm.
It's a learning process for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Is it
Very much.
What do you tell your healthcare professionals or colleagues when they start getting into their very first Airbnb? Is there any suggestions maybe you can give to people?
I think maybe talk about it so easily where because it comes off easy for me, like it fits my personality, but it's not for everyone. I mean, you're in the hospitality industry. It's much more a business than it is real estate. What I would tell people is start on day one, just writing down the entire process with the thought process that eventually you're going to hand this off to someone else. Let's say you just paid your electric bill. Okay, I'm going to write that down in a calendar. I use Asana and asana.com. It's free. It's a no-brainer to use. So you just put that on your calendar and say, remind me to pay this bill once a month. And then it could be a lot of other things like, hey, remind me every 6 months to send air filters to my cleaner, or remind me every 8 months to send a new coffee maker, because that's how long they probably last. So there's all of these little tasks that you can put on a calendar. What you want to do is dummy proof it to the point where go to this website, www.amazon.com. Here's the link for coffee maker. Click purchase and send it to this person with exact message. So really lay it down to the point where when you do have to hand it off to someone, it winds up becoming a really easy process.
Well, that's a lot of discipline. I think that's good that you're literally building your own systems. I find doing that makes you better at what it is that you're doing, obviously more efficient, but you're able to scale off of that. Cause then, like you said, you
Yes.
can hand it off to whether it be a virtual assistant or your wife or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be, just so anyone can kind of pick up like, okay, great. And it just
Yeah.
becomes so much more easier. What's that
Right.
called? I've never heard of that one. Is it Asana? How do you spell that?
Yeah. ASANA. There's the different ones like Monday.com,
Oh, okay. I'm familiar with
Trello.
Monday. Yep.
Yeah. So it's pretty much the same system. Asana was easy for us because it's almost like a watered down system. And the thing is, virtual assistants like it because it's easier to navigate through. So,
Okay, interesting. I'll check that one
yeah.
out. Cool.
Yeah.
If anyone is in your area, talk about your meetups or your Facebook group, because I think, like I said, I love the fact that you're kind of in the medical or the professional kind of world and community. Where I'm in more of the little first responders. So, where can people kind of reach out to you or your community?
Yeah, interesting enough, like I said, I was just helping so many people everyone was doing Zoom like during COVID, right? And so
Right.
we kind of got used to meeting up on Zoom. And I didn't want to keep talking about the same thing over and over again. So then I wound up having different real estate agents come on Zoom, and different CEOs from different companies, like different products that can help host out. So that's kind of how it turned out. So I host weekly meetups on Zoom, but my healthcare community is called Healthcare Professionals Investing in Real Estate. You could find us on Facebook, and there's like a Zoom link there where you could sign up, and then we'll host weekly meetups and talk about a lot of different things. Sometimes I might not talk about real estate, or there'll be different topics, like I'll talk about multifamily real estate, or I'll talk about self-storage, because I don't want to be just one thing. Next week, we're talking about this guy that hacks traveling, where he doesn't pay anything to travel flights. Like all his flights are for free.
And
So
everything. Yep.
right. When you start peeling back the onion, there's so much you could dive into with real estate and finance and stuff like that. So that's all we talk about. We give and we don't expect anything in return. It's more just really, it was me just making better use of my time and just putting the message out there so that way, anyone could use it. So
Cool. Yeah, I feel you there, man. That's why I keep rolling on this podcast, just share the information. So awesome, dude. Well, it's great to connect. People want to reach out to you. I know you mentioned that, but is there your Instagram handle there? I could leave in the show notes, and people who are listening to this can maybe search you out.
Yeah, you could find me at The Real Alex Sabio, really active on social media, or on Facebook, Alex Sabio, or my healthcare community if you guys are in healthcare professionals investing in real estate. So.
Cool. All right, man. Well, thanks again. Great to connect, and I appreciate your time and sharing all your knowledge and experience.
Cool. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate and review on iTunes. Also, check out our website at 911wealthnetwork.com or contact Dave directly at 911wealthnetwork.com. Stay safe out there.